Hello everybody. I'd like to say a special hello to the Mogler Tom and Mogler Bal, who have been posting questions on my channel and not getting the answers they wanted. Sorry guys, but I did take time out. I wasn't paying attention to anything for a while. Modding. You're all wondering, where's my mods? To be honest, I kind of lost interest when I closed my site. So it was, I used to like hosting on my site because I got sick of people, trolls, very well-known trolls in the test community reporting my mods to death till they got removed off other sites. And I wasn't willing to make a mod only to have it taken down the first time someone didn't like the competition like it used to happen. So I just stopped, you know, and I really didn't like having to wade through tons and tons and tons of websites hoping one particular web host was going to actually deliver what they promised to deliver in the sales brochure, because the web hosting business is a dirty business, and in some sites they'll promise you the world, and as soon as you get 2 visitors they consider that a rush and they'll throttle your bandwidth. And I needed to host mods, so the second one person downloaded the mod, it's, oh my god, he's used up so many megabytes, let's just cut his site and see he's got a problem. I was with one company, they nearly killed off my site. You know, you might remember it actually from the old the Engineering Guild. Was with one particular site, and it seemed to have the site down every 5 minutes. That was because my site was more popular than their server could handle, and they answered the question by taking my site down every now and again whenever it got busy. That's what we deal with when we're hosting sites these days. And to be honest, I don't really have the money to you know, run a server. It costs a lot of money to run a server, need to host the mods. So, you know, I don't do it for that reason. I spend money on other things now, like brand new cameras. Anyway, mods. Skyrim Special Edition broke a lot of scripts in my mods. Mods that were working and heavily tested. Because if you're making a quest mod, you've got to heavily test them. You can't just make it, throw it out like they do with other mods. You have to test it, and because my mods are rather complicated, well, they're not complicated, I make them simple, but when you get a simple idea, put them together, they're a complicated idea. It becomes difficult to test, you know, like for instance, same idea might have to be tested from several different directions before you've tested it properly, which means several different games. You have to do a whole game up to that point before you can test that idea. That takes a lot of time. I spent more time testing than I spent modding, so it tends to put me off. But the Skyrim Special Edition definitely broke my Fighters Guild mod. It definitely broke my what's the thing? Vigilant mod, Demon Hunters. I played both of them, you know, on the Skyrim Special Edition, and I've got to the same point each time where they just broke. So it has caused problems, and to be honest, I don't really have the patience to go back to old mods and fix them at the moment, especially since I don't really play Skyrim Special Edition. I'm still playing the old one because everything works on there. Anyway, at the end of the time I spent modding, I was in a change of direction. Instead of just doing epic quests like Return to Helgen, I started doing Radiant style quests. Now I was doing Radiant style quests in the Oblivion days, and them Radiant quests were a bit like the Skyrim ones are now. Right, very basic basically. But the new ones have been developed over 5 or 6 years on multiple games, and they included lore stories, right, random loot. You wouldn't play the mission to get the same 500 gold like you used to. You get a random loot table. You could get anything on that table as a gift, as a reward for finishing a mission. And some of the loot was pretty good. It's deliberate. It's a bit like loot boxes actually, except for you didn't pay for these. These were reward for doing the missions. And sometimes, like in the Vigilant mod, you know, when you did so many missions, you'd get an upgraded uniform, which, if you wore all the bits, was still pretty good when you got to level 40. You know, these were really, I mean, they weren't overpowered. They were balanced against the game, but it was nice. Combination of random loot and rewards for rank made that mod really good. And also the stories being lore based meant that whilst the guy talking might say, we have a vampire in Morphle, he's blah 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 in, right? Then you'd have a thing in Morphle. I didn't do that, not very often. I started doing it, we have a vampire problem, this guy's been running around, not mentioning the location, but I would include lore, and then the location would be random as well. So you might get the mission 2 or 3 times, but it looked like a different quest because it was in different locations, but actually it was the same quest. You see? Unfortunately, that clever little thing was exactly the kind of thing that Skyrim Special Edition broke. So they ruined some of my best work. Anyhow, the Mogra Tong, just to answer a particular question from one user, that was in the Saltire mod. It was a feature of the Saltire mod, an entire guild was added to that as a... because I wanted to, you know. Saltire mod was about, I think it was Raven Rock, was it? And I just wanted to add the Mogra Tong, so I did. Like an Easter egg, you might say. Entire guild as an Easter egg. And I made that lore friendly. You had to pray at the altar, you learned the secrets, you developed a real sense of what the Mogra Tong were about, and what they hated and what they liked, and why they did things. You were taught poisons, arrows, and when you combine them you get one-shot kills on assassinated targets if you wanted to, but you had to have Dragon Bone, you had to have Nightshade in order to make the poisons and the arrows, and it was very involving. And to be honest, I loved it. I still love it today. In fact, I often go back to playing Skyrim and go straight to that particular thing. So if you're a Mogra Tong player, me and you are mates, right? Good mates. Now, the Dark Lord Grimoire mod, that seems to work fine on Skyrim Special Edition and Skyrim, the old one. But it didn't include that kind of missions, and there might be a place once or twice in some of the side quests, because remember there's the Saltire Mages Guild, which is a Mages Guild that was, when Mages Guild broke up, that guild just went independent, but kept the name of Saltire Mages Guild. And then you had a Necromancer Mages Guild just next door, and then you had the Telvanni on Solstheim as well, all part of the Dark Lord Grimoire mod. That's 3 guilds in one mod, plus the College of Winterhold storyline with those special mages. Yeah, I'll tell you about that actually. Special mages. Do you know when you get a user that doesn't read the docs? They're my special mages. I actually said, right, because some people don't even listen to the briefing. God, we've all done, we skip past it real quick. At the beginning of the Dark Lord Grimoire mod, I can't be a bit evil. Says there's a question, right, and it says, I want you to go and get this item, right? Ignore the white arrow. Don't follow the white arrow. The white arrow is sending you in the wrong direction. Just go and get this item from that room. And then it ends. Then a white arrow appears and takes you to a book which says, you didn't follow the instructions, did you? And it just shuts down the rest of the quest. He figures if you're not going to follow instructions, why should I bother making these quests? Because you're just going to bother me with questions. So it shuts down the quest and basically dumps down the whole mod into an eye candy mod room. Although you still get the guilds work fine. It only happened for the college. But I was making a point, right? Just like I was making a point with the, well, what became known as the 9 Links Club. When people kept saying, oh, there's a door there and it's locked. This is in Oblivion. You remember that, Roger? Yeah, I'm talking to you, you mischievous little sod. He's the one that started the 9 Links Club. He saw the door and he knew it was not supposed to be open, and he thought, right then, challenge! Turned out to be a popular topic on the forum for a while, thanks to Roger. But anyway, I made a door that said, do not enter! Of course, everybody wanted to enter it at that point. And when they got in, there was a table. And there was a book and a bottle of wine, or beer or something. And he opened the book and it said, you really shouldn't be here, should you? The wine would teleport onto the person's body. The wine was incredibly heavy, so the person couldn't move. Didn't tell him that though. The door behind didn't just lock, disappeared completely, replaced by a wall, so they couldn't pick their lock out, pick their way out of it. They were trapped in that room until they died. And then it spawned 9 level 50 liches to teach them a lesson about picking locks. Oh, unfortunately, right, some of my users took that as a challenge. It became the 9-inch club. This is the fun we had on Teg, by the way. We did loads of this nonsense, and I even made some test mods just to be ridiculous in that way. Anyway, the mods I was talking about, the Makarov mods and stuff, I really did like doing them, and it was a real shame that the Elder Scrolls Special Edition broke them, because I thought that was my best work to do. Because I mean, I work with players as voice actors, not with professionals, so we were having fun doing the mods. We weren't doing it to become professionals, we weren't getting paid, there was no money involved in it, we were just doing it to have fun. And we did have fun, we made some good mods together. The voice acting might not have been brilliant, but like I said, we're all players, so we just did it for fun. And the particular mods were repeatable. They had repeatable quests in them that was very, very special and lore friendly, and they delivered a feeling and a vibe that matched the exact guild faction I wanted the players to be immersed in. It did it. I mean, it became a lot because the Fighters Guild was a problem. I mean, what's a Fighters Guild? Think about it. Here's a contract, go and kill a bear. Here's a contract, go and kill a deer. Here's a contract, go and kill yourself. I mean, it's not interesting, it's boring. But I made it interesting, I worked it out. I figured the secret of making the Fighters Guild into an entertaining, interesting faction. And I added all kinds of lore stories in which the factions, well, the Fighters Guild members had to go and figure out for themselves. They'd go and kill a vampire here or a ghost there or something. And there'd be a bit of story introduced each time as a random element in these missions. And as you know, if you played my Skyrim mods, I had a habit of putting all the supernatural stuff around Morphle, you know, where, because there's a vampire there anyway, and a ghost there, so I figured I'd make it a supernatural place. And I didn't explain why I was doing it. I was working to a plan, but I concluded that plan in the now broken Fighters Guild mod. Now the Fighters Guild mod, right, conclusion was, it was sheer gore of messing with the people of Morphle. That was the conclusion. Because all the things that were happening were impossible, they should be happening, and they did happen. They even had Hound of the Baskerville parody in there, you know, because it was just fun to do. And you have to have fun when you're modding, because it's a lot of work to do. And sometimes when you're doing it, you can just chuckle to yourself, and there you go. But if I ever did get back into mods, it'd be to make that kind of mod. Unfortunately, Bethesda seem to have gone downhill. I think they're on their last legs now. I've seen companies that forget who they're making games for before, and usually that team ends up disbanded and the name becomes a brand which several other developers release games under. And as you know, that's already happening with Bethesda, and you can tell by the quality. So I don't think you're going to see that many more of the Scrolls games of the kind of quality we used to. We've already seen the RPG elements get removed from the game in favour of console-friendly control methods. So they're already on the way down. The good news is other companies come along, and whilst Microsoft who do the same thing, they buy up a company, let it run for a bit and then disband them, they brought out Mobsidan and a few others, and they're all coming out with their games now. So me and you may see each other in a future game modding again. So keep an eye on this channel, because you may find you get what you want. Right, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.